to another No Rules review. I'm Ethan Millay, and today we're going to be looking at my #1 game, Roads and Boats. And this is going to be like the opening to Star Wars. I'll pan this up so you can see it better. Yeah, it's a big box. So, in Roads and Boats, you and up to 6 players take the part of industrialists? I'm not actually quite sure. You start with 3 donkeys, a couple of geese, some boards, and some stone, and from that, you're going to be building buildings that will produce natural resources, convert those resources into other resources, and eventually through a chain of different buildings and conversions, producing stock certificates. This is always a fun one when I'm trying to introduce it to people and you're explaining what happens like that, because it just sort of seems quite cuckoo. It's by Splatterspellen, Jeroen Douman and Joris Versinga out of the Netherlands, and they're sort of known for making quirky, deep, thinky games. This is a logistics efficiency puzzle, and I personally, I love that. My work as an industrial engineer, I do efficiency engineering, specifically with things like logistics and supply chain management and stuff like that, so I do really enjoy it. As I said earlier, the game can be played with anywhere from 1 to 6 people. I've played it 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've never played 5 and 6. It wouldn't make too much of a difference because one of the great things about this game is it can be played at the same time. Everybody can be playing at the exact same time. Now, with new players, you want to be careful that whoever the experienced player is sort of keeping an eye out to make sure, not intentional issues, but it's pretty easy to make some unintentional mistakes. You know, moving things when they can't be moved, or moving things more than they could or couldn't. But it's good because it moves very methodically. Each round you have all the buildings produce and convert goods. Then everything moves. Then you can build if you want, and then you make offerings to the wonder. Because that's the other bizarre thing. The timer in the game is you're all collectively constructing a wonder. You're building bricks of this wonder to make a wonder of the world, and when it reaches a certain level, that's when the game ends. So you, as the experienced player, whoever the experienced player is, sort of can treat it very methodically like that. You know, okay, everybody, it's production time. Let's make sure we do production right. It is movement time. Let's do movement, check, make sure everything's good. It's building time. That's pretty easy because you move around, you know, player by player, say, what are you building, what are you building? And then the wonder time. You can, if people are concerned, go in turn order. It will slow the game down dramatically. But it's sort of nice because when you play it concurrently like that, you can have a very sort of conflict-free game. You can go in and mess with each other. That usually requires you to move in turn order, though, and there's a mechanic or a mechanism for deciding turn order and changing turn order. I have here in my hand, I thought I'd pull this up, let's do it on the English side, the little player sheet you have to show you all the buildings you can build and what they cost and what they produce and what you end up doing, where you can move. And you see it's pretty intimidating at first. So whenever I bring this out with new people, I just very quickly explain the basic buildings, and I explain that you want to get to this point, and so I've laminated these. You know, you play the game with a sheet of plexiglass over the tile, so you're drawing on the plexiglass. So I just tell people to draw on this, draw out their plans on this, cross out buildings as they do them, and I find that really helps people, because the biggest issue new players have with this is knowing how they want to organize themselves. Now this is my #1 game of all time, and I don't see that ever changing. The 2 biggest criticisms with this game, I'm going to start on that first one. New players stand no chance of winning. They really don't. This is a game about reading the map, knowing what you need to do, when you need to do it, and how best to do it. It's an efficiency engine. You want to try to place your buildings in the most efficient manner. You want to produce transporters in an efficient manner. You want to be moving goods at all times if you can. Stuff sitting idly is bad. You know, it's sort of the Toyota production system of gaming. You want to be efficient. You want to constantly be improving that efficiency. The other big issue with this game, and we will see if I can try to do this. I should have prepared ahead of time. It can be quite fiddly. Oh, let's do this without spilling anything. these are the components in the game, and I'm afraid if I tip it too much, I'm going to spill it all out. But you see, there are hundreds of chits. I don't remember how long it took me to punch this out, but it was not quick. So it can be fiddly. Now, I personally don't mind that, but certainly if you are used to some of the more streamlined production, streamlined mechanisms you get in a modern gaming, that can seem a little archaic. But really, you're not, as an individual player, doing all that much. You can have massive, massive boards for a 4, 5, 6 player game. Again, I haven't done 5 or 6. But you're really in your little part of the world. Now, I also have in here the Etc. expansion, the only expansion the game had, that introduces another means of scoring points. Because in the main game, gold, coins, stock certificates, those are the only three ways of scoring points beyond the wonder. In the expansion, there is art, there's traveling around, doing shows with the art, there's pearls and statuary and stuff. I've never played with the expansion because the people I play with, we play so infrequently that I've never had a chance to really move on beyond the basic game. I play this a lot solo, and now the solo game is a different game than the multiplayer game. The solo game, there's no AI opponent, there's nothing you're doing, you're just trying to be better. You play 20 rounds, you see what score you got, you try again later, see if you got a higher score. And to some people that might seem terrible. I enjoy it. It is tough setting it up, it takes a little while to set it up, but once you have it out, you can play a solo game in half an hour maybe. And you get to see what you've done at the end. As I usually say, I like games where you have a progression, and certainly Roads and Boats, you get that progression. You start 3 donkeys, 2 geese, some boards, and some stone, and by the end of the game, you've got an entire road network with factories. You could have trucks, airplanes, tankers, rafts. You could have all kinds of stuff moving things around in as efficient of a manner as you want. Speaking of those transporters, those are the only things in the game that are your own, which is another neat part about the game. When you or I build a building, it's not my building, it's not your building, it's just a building. Anybody can use it, so you can play this game incredibly cutthroat, where if you get near my building, I gotta go in there and try to keep you out by building up walls, or make sure that I can produce before you can. Or you can play it very laid back, where, you know, you can even work with your opponents. You say, I'll contribute some amount of resources, you contribute some amount of resources, and we'll build this one building that we both need, but we don't need often enough to be competing over it. So you can play it armed to the teeth. You can play it in a very peaceful, risk-adverse manner, or conflict-adverse manner. And I think that's great. Now, most of the people I play it with do not want to play it in a very cutthroat manner. They like that sort of laid-back feel, and it's nice. Here's a smaller, you know, it's got this nice pastoral feel. It's got the cute donkey. Yeah, some people might hate the artwork. I like the quirky charm of Splotter, so I love the artwork. That's really all I have to say. I think it's a great game. Again, this is another one of those games. It is out of print, but Splotter does reprint periodically. They usually do 1 or 2 reprints a year, and then every other year they'll bring out a new game. This year they're not reprinting Roads and Boats, but I wouldn't be surprised if in 2017 or 2018 it doesn't get a reprint. You can get it, I mean, new, it's a $120 game. Right now that it's out of print, it's like $140, so it hasn't gone up all that much. But it is well worth it, in my opinion. This is a game that will never leave my collection. This is a game, whenever somebody says, do you want to play a game, this is one of the first things that comes into my mind, and I would never turn down a game of this. That's all I gotta say about the wonderful game of Roads and Boats. If you like what you see in this video, you can check out my other videos. I've started a series of videos with these no rules reviews. If you like what you see, like, share, subscribe. Every little bit helps. I try to grow this channel into hopefully something that can be a little more regular and a little more professional. Thank you very much. This is Ethan Millay saying bye-bye now.